Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Roll-Wise Show, the place where we talk about and play games. Today, we're going to be continuing our gameplay with Spire, The City Must Fall, and we're going to be doing a little bit more work trying to stop the Ascension ceremony as we're playing through the Quickstart, Snuff Out the Sun. So I'm here with Jeff and Brent, and we kind of ended in a little bit of a tense location. Jeff had just decided that he was going to enter into the offices of the Bishop Solemn-Rise, a person he had, let's say, given a juicy piece of information to and then blown off. Does that sound about right, Jeff?
No, I don't think I blew it off. I think I wasn't able to make it at the appointed time, and we didn't have cell phones, so I couldn't, call him.
Well, you ghosted him. You gave him some juicy tidbit and then ghost.
I did ghost him, but I'm just the middleman, so I can only go where I'm told.
That's true,
as far as he knows.
So that is true. So I think it makes sense to start with Jeff tonight. You had kind of like entered into the Archbishop's office. You had seen him behind his desk. There was a certain amount of like wear present there, even though that when you first went in there, you could tell he was a person who seemed to like be sleeping in his office. But there's a certain thing that it seems to have gnawed at him, maybe a chip on his shoulder or something like that. But obviously, when he saw you, he kind of like there was a certain rage that bubbled up, and it kind of came out when he hissed at you, and he basically said, "You." And that's where we kind of ended last time. I think that really before allowing you to speak, though, he's going to kind of in a level tone, he kind of in a commanding voice, angry, but not like he's not yelling at you at this point. He quietly and he kind of enunciates every word when he says, "Close the door," and kind of like grits out that door through his teeth.
I bow my head to acknowledge, and I'll turn and close the door.
Okay. So he kind of looks at you, and he goes over. He slowly rises up, puts his hands behind his back, and he says, "On your knees. Penance, here, now. Tell me who sent you, what you exactly lied about, and exactly why I shouldn't have the Autumn Paladins remind me, or have the Autumn Paladins remind a drow what her place actually is in the city."
Well, get on my knees. Put my arms behind my back.
Kind of like hovers over you, waiting to hear kind of at least have you elucidate the situation for him.
I have only passed along the information that I've been told by an anonymous source that sends me messages and asks me to do things.
Kind of looms closer. And what are you here for today, then?
To provide more information that it seems like the sister is having an affair with a drow.
Kind of letting
that was
that
the information I was given. I certainly couldn't get close enough to the sister to confirm or deny that, as I'm not allowed to move freely in the same parts of the city as she can, but certainly you and the church's vast resources, one would assume, would be able to find out this kind of information. Unless you want someone who consorts with my kind to take a very important position with your church. If that isn't enough information for you to proceed, then perhaps you don't have as much power as the person who directed me to come here thinks that you do.
You could tell he's kind of quiet for a moment, as there's that, kind of, it's like on the outside, you could tell he's practiced keeping himself calm, as a man of faith and everything like that. His outer appearance is something he's very practiced at keeping. But you personally know the subtle signs of kind of the storm that's rolling underneath the surface. The way he looks at you, like the way he kind of tenses his jaw a little bit to try to think through the problem a little bit more here. And he kind of raises his voice just a little bit, and he's like, "What do you expect me to do with that information now? The concordate is already voted."
Then I guess there's nothing you can do. I don't know why you're asking me, my lord, bishop. I don't know what the honorific for bishop is. Is it just bishop?
Sir, I don't know.
As I said, I'm passed along information and asked to take it to certain parties. This is what I was asked to take to you. If the information is too late, that is unfortunate. But at least you'll have some truth as the person that is going to be elevated within your church.
So he's looking, and he kind of goes back to his desk. He sits down. He kind of steeples his fingers as he's kind of trying to think. And you can tell that he's not, you're not exactly sure what's going through his mind at this point. So, but he's half focused on you. So this would be the time, if you were looking to do any specific actions of any kind, this would be your opportunity while he's in.
Let me think here. Can weave a bond between people who have never met, forcing them into each other's destinies. Who has he never met that I have met?
Ooh, I wonder how that could be used.
Yeah, I'm not. That's the hard part. I'm trying to think of how to.
And don't worry if you guys want to metagame this just a tiny bit. I don't know if Brent has any suggestions for you on that specific ability, but you have other abilities too that you could use if you choose to explore those.
No, I mean, I think I used Protector's Eye last time on him to find out what he wishes to protect above all else.
Not him. I'll use that on that. Use it on the T guy.
I'll use Protector's Eye, which I asked the GM what a particular NPC wishes to protect above all else. So that's up to you, whether it's himself or the church or his mother. I don't know.
No, so basically, if you use that, I think you don't even need to roll for that, do you?
No, that one doesn't require a roll.
So he's more into protecting his image of himself, in so much as that you can tell that he feels like there's possibility that he felt foolish for thinking that this was a pathway he could really pursue. It's like, because as you said, you couldn't make it back to there, so he feels dumb for trusting a drow, first of all. Second, for believing that there was an opportunity that he might be able to turn something around. So really, your sense is that he's wanting to protect himself.
His incompetence?
Avoid humiliation. What's that?
His incompetence? He doesn't have enough juice to get things done. That's all I'm getting out of this. But I do think I may want to try weave the web as he's stewing.
Okay.
And I believe the two entities, are the Bishop and Henry.
All right. As soon as you said that, that sounded like a really good idea.
Well, I don't know how they're going to immediately act upon one another, so I don't. But I'm trying to force them into each other's destiny. And it's a compel and occult roll.
Okay.
This should be interesting. 7.
Okay, so as we know from
success with complication, right? Or is that just a success?
It's a success with complication, because an 8 and a 9 is success, no complication. A 10 is a critical success, but a 6 and a 7 means that you would.
Where did you roll that?
In the Spire.
Yeah. Okay. In our channel, Discord.
Yeah. I figured it was in Discord. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, it was a home game channel in Spire.
Okay. So, success. But you take something in this. So I feel like because you've kind of revealed yourself to him.
Yeah, am I taking stress or fallout?
Stress. You always take stress before you get to fallout.
Okay.
So it feels like this stress is going to affect your shadow.
Sure.
Because you basically you've kind of brought to light this information, and to whatever degree he can influence the Autumn Paladins or whatever law enforcement or something like that. It does feel as though there's now attention from the authorities on you, in some degree. So
how much stress?
I'm going to say it's going to be a D6. Because he's a bishop and people actually listen to him.
Okay. So is it just stress automatically for the success?
Yeah. So
because the ability doesn't say he takes stress.
Yeah, but the roll roll takes stress. Yeah,
okay, because just making sure I understood.
It's kind of like Powered by the Apocalypse. You have the stress with a complication, and so that's where this is coming through. Okay. So
I took stress.
What? No.
You have an ability to let you ignore fallout, by the way.
Yeah, I have an ability that lets me ignore fallout, but this is stress, not fallout.
So now we're on to the stress part. So now I get to see how much actual stress you have. So you have 0 shadow free slots, meaning that you don't get any free stress. I have 1
left. I had 3 and I took 6. I've got 10. I have 1 shadow spot left.
Okay, so you have 9 total stress. So this is where the fallout has the greatest chance of occurring. So let's see. All right. Now I roll. So now I roll a 1d10. 1d10. Okay. And is it lower than the total stress? No. Jesus.
Is it his turn? Like, you don't have any stress right now?
I have 9.
He has 9. That's hilarious.
Shadow. And you rolled a 1d6?
No, he added.
He rolled a d10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you rolled
I rolled a d10. I rolled a 9. There are only 2 numbers on this stupid dice that I could roll.
That's true.
Prevent them. And the funny thing, I don't even get to make you force you to trigger the fallout reduction thing.
To trigger haunted. Yeah, I don't even have to trigger haunted.
That's hilarious.
I will say that was close enough that some of my plagued visions flit through my brain for a second.
You had a 20% chance, and you rolled the 20%. Some might consider that lucky.
Okay. So a few things are happening right now that we're going to try to play through.
Okay.
You feel like there's a part of him that you're not sure exactly you're not sure exactly like what he's kind of like a loose cannon at this point. So he says to you, you've kind of been doing whatever things through the weave and everything like that as he's been focused, and suddenly he comes over to you, grabs you by the arm, and kind of yanks you up. He's not exactly a strong man, so it's like it kind of pulls you up in the direction, and then you have to actually work your way up to get to the rest. And he's just like, "You're coming with me." Okay. And with that being said, I want to check in with Brent and Derwent to see what Derwent is up to at this very moment.
Derwent's just doing research on the solar event, so he's aware. He did small. Okay. He did a bunch of like small. Oh no, I'm still wandering around the venue doing errands for the organizer guy.
Okay. Because you were working with Prior Gouth. Was that who we were working with?
Yeah. So it's kind of like doing my it's like a day of durance.
Okay.
To try and earn enough confidence, to stand next to that door.
Okay. So now, so imagine this, Jeff. So he is taking you someplace. You've kind of controlled the weave to force a destiny between two people. Based on what you've experienced with your kind of observation of Henry, Brent, I have a feeling that you would actually see this, as Jeff's being marched through the yards to get to wherever destination you need to be. But you're not. Are you going to intervene at all as you're doing this? You're just going to kind of
not unless he does something to tell me that he's in trouble, because I'm going to assume this is part of the plan that he had, whatever plan he had.
Perfect. So Jeff, what do you think? Like, could you imagine how Bishop Solemn-Rise would? How do they say it in that? They would immediately collide, like.
It says, force any two entities or groups of your choosing to immediately act upon one another in whichever fashion the GM sees fit. And I don't quite know what they mean by act.
So here's another chance for you to say, "Go talk to her," like my ability.
See if I can force him to do it. The power of Christ compels you.
I mean, he did it. You did do it.
I did do it.
Now
I weaved the web.
It's just up to Mike on what exactly doing it.
Well, I'm just wondering if you give any suggestions from your side, because
if I'm talking to him while he's
kind of marching you, are you if you're trying at this point, you can kind of I'm asking you to plant the inspiration of how you think they could interact and see what your thought is, because I have an idea in my head here, but I'm just curious if you want to help the situation along, because it seems like you know a little bit about.
I'll say, Bishop, where are you taking me?
I think it's time that that you and the Autumn Paladins have a discussion. Your trespass into the Basilica by itself is enough for me to hold you for the time being.
It's no wonder that a small-minded individual such as you couldn't have used the information you were given to act. If you want to meet Henry, you just need to go see the sister doing her things in the where's she at?
She's in the plaza.
The plaza. You just need to go to the plaza. Henry will be there. He just won't be in sight. He'll be tucked away in her carriage, waiting for her to finish. I can't believe they were going to choose you instead of her. At least she has the boldness to do things. What a sad little man you are.
So, okay. So, yeah. So you can tell that you have gotten under his skin. Again, that outward appearance isn't betraying really, at least at a distance, the amount of anger that you can see through the veins bobbing, or kind of what is it? Not throbbing. That's the word. Throbbing in his head as he's just roiling with these jabs and these comments at his own inadequacies and everything like that. So, okay. So this is how I think this is going to play out. He's going to find some autumn paladins in the plaza square. He's going to take you and suggest to the autumn paladins that a drow has broken into Sister Crimson's carriage and needs to be arrested immediately. Do you do anything to change that outcome, or do you kind of follow along with that?
I think I continue taunting him.
Okay. So you're not going to try to assuade him from doing something like that?
I'm just the messenger.
Okay.
You're being given a great opportunity to be seen as a bold and decisive man. But instead, you're choosing to hide behind your fears, behind your self-loathing, and not act in a bold stroke.
Okay.
I have no idea how someone as ineffectual as you was seated to this position that you now hold. You must have been such a disappointment to whichever patron helped raise you to this esteemed position.
Wow. Eventually your needling does get him to kind of push on your arm and say silence, as he's taking you to the autumn paladins.
Or what? You think this is the roughest that one of your kind has ever treated me?
Oh, awkward.
Hanging onto my arm? Directing me through a crowd?
Okay.
You can't even do this right.
Yeah. So he goes and collects a small group of paladins. He's now seemingly ignoring you. You can tell you've gotten under his skin, though. He takes the paladins and he lets them know that he kind of says that you have helped him. You've helped point out something terrible that was happening to Sister Crimson's carriage. And kind of like he basically spins it that you're there to prevent the effective like breaking and entering into an Aelfir carriage and stealing their stuff, or who knows what they're doing, but using the jubilation and all the festivities happening as cover of doing that. They go to the carriage, which obviously is the same carriage that you've seen for the last few days that you've done your surveillance of the plaza and Sister Crimson. The Autumn Paladins go to the carriage, kind of open it up, without, they don't really ask Sister Crimson, right? She's in the middle of a sermon, so this is kind of happening behind the scenes to that. And you can see that, a few moments of struggle, somebody is pulled out of the carriage and kind of thrust onto the ground, kind of using like an arm and kind of pushing them down, face into the stone as they, as he's kind of put it in front of Bishop Solemn-Rise, who seems to have a small smile on his face from the situation.
So did the Autumn Paladins that were guarding the carriage not do anything?
They did. Well, they're Autumn Paladins guarding the plaza themselves.
Okay.
There wasn't any Autumn Paladins that were like specifically guarding Sister Crimson's carriage. They're more just like, you know how when you have like the Times Square, there's police around. That was more the tone there.
That's my misunderstanding. It's okay.
Yeah. So now they're together. Ta-da. So now
Bishop feels like a perfect chance for instant bromance or instant, hated rivals.
Okay, bromance. That's that's one way to act upon another in whichever fashion I see fit.
He seems like he wants to push his authority that he doesn't have much of. I by the way, am quaking appropriately in the arms of the Autumn Paladins and weeping a little bit, sobbing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So at this point, yeah, both you and Henry are going to be taken by the Paladins to be held, at least. So Henry is really confused as to what's going on. You look appropriately scared. He doesn't have any idea of what's happening. He doesn't say anything, of course. But we'll have the Paladins taking you to kind of like a holding area that they have. And then we'll kind of let the night play a little bit into the evening. Brent, you've done all the work that you can. You've researched everything about the solar event that you can. And you pretty much have done all the amount of preparations that you can, and then to be ready for your moment as a usher.
I mean, I was helping him. I was helping the guy, remember? Mm-hmm. So once I do the work for them, I see if she, what is her name?
Bonchance.
No,
Sub Abbess.
Philydia.
Yeah, I see if she needs an escort home for the evening, and then I would see if she needs a company home to try and keep that relationship going. And then once that's done, I basically sit at home and wait for Bonchance to discuss what happened during the day.
Okay. Sub Abbess Philydia, you could tell that this being the final night for the preparations and everything like that, seems that she's probably more stressed than you've seen her the previous days, which is actually pretty impressive considering she's been pretty strung out from the fact that this project is kind of finally coming to a head, and tomorrow is kind of the do or die.
Tomorrow I get to wreck it.
Do something's going to be wrecked. So you put yourself, she suggests, since she hasn't had a chance to eat, there's a place that she knows to sit down and have dinner if you haven't eaten yourself. And she offers to help you with a meal and all that kind of stuff. She's acting more like party planner, and she's less priest right now, it seems.
We do that.
Okay. And as you kind of sit, having almost like a cafe style place, a light meal that, kind of comes, like the pieces come and go as you are conversing and everything. And she's really not talking about anything in particular, just a relaxed, non-religious, just trying to talk with friends kind of moment. As she's is bringing you through, because once she finishes talking to you about how if you're ready and everything like that, she brings it to other conversations, this friendly stuff. At the end, trying to stay out a little bit longer with some coffee and all of those types of things. When you guys hear a little bit of an event happening just down the way, you can hear some raised voices and some other things as we bring it back to Jeff, Henry, and the Autumn Paladins who are holding you two. When suddenly Sister Crimson comes in, demanding why they've taken her manservant. Her manservant at once. So, at this point, kind of between everything that's kind of happened, the Autumn Paladins haven't really done anything to you other than hold you. Sister Crimson is kind of the first person other than any of the Autumn Paladins that you have seen since Bishop Solemn-Rise hurriedly left with back to his offices to do something. You're not exactly sure what, but he had kind of left you with the Paladins, kind of probably as in his mind as a punishment that they'll probably deal with you at some point, but he has bigger, more important things to do in his own world. So during that time, Henry is a little bit hesitant, but he kind of like reaches out to say like, "Hey, what is happening? Why are we here?" So do you talk with Henry at all while you're in holding, Jeff?
No, this is the hard part. How much do I tell Henry? Probably nothing. Never mind. Yeah, I'll talk to him as I'm sobbing. I was told to take a message to the bishop. I went into his office, handed him the message, and he said he was going to take me to the Autumn Paladins, that he couldn't believe the information he'd gotten. I don't know what was in the message. I don't know why we went to the square. I don't know why he had the Autumn Paladins pull you out of the coach. I mean, this is very upsetting, and I'm scared what's going to happen to me. I don't have a great patron. I have a mistress that I work for most of the time. Do you have any idea why he would have had you pulled bodily from the carriage? That this whole thing seems completely unnecessary. He seems like a small, sad little man.
You're just every opportunity, Jeff. Wow. He suggests that he has no real no knowledge as to why he would have been pulled out of the carriage. You can kind of tell that he's evasive in that. His body language suggests that he probably knows why he'd be pulled out of the carriage, but he doesn't really explain that to you. He kind of leaves that as like, oh, I don't know why either, kind of thing. So he, once you kind of like explain your situation and explain him, he does get pretty nervous as he's sitting in there. You could tell that there is, and because this is kind of a station that the Paladins are using to kind of like as a centralized location for them to patrol the area around the plaza and everything like that. There are several Paladins that come in and out of this building that they're using, but it's not. I mean, this looks more like something that they put together for the festivities, so they're kind of using it temporarily. So you guys are kind of in just a room. they've locked you in effectively. It's not particularly well decorated or anything like that, but it does have a couple of chairs that you can use to sit as you're doing it. Later, though, after a while, you're not exactly sure how much time has passed, but then you hear Sister Crimson basically coming in to demand why they are holding her manservant, and that she demands that they release him at once. and she lets slip that, you know, that this is that they better listen. Basically, she threatens them on the promise of possible future authority that they don't want to cross her. The paladins, of course, not wanting to take any risks with what seems to be a member of the church themselves, kind of get a statement from her and come in to release Henry at least into her care, leaving you kind of by yourself at the moment. Henry kind of gives you a sad goodbye and good luck as he's taken by his mistress.
I look down at the ground and start sobbing again a little bit.
Are you trying to evoke empathy from him?
Compel.
I
would say compel plus low society, maybe, to try and get him to help you.
I try to get her to help me.
Compel plus high
society, then, yeah.
Compel and high society.
Yeah, so it'll be 3.
All right, I will try compel and high society. We'll see what happens. Seven.
7, 5. Okay. Ooh, so you are successful. The brazenness of your request and the anger that she has kind of catches, catches her off guard a little bit. Out of curiosity, do you like, as part of your plea to her, do you explain kind of how you explained to Henry how you got there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's my story going. That is my whole story of the interaction going forward. I was asked to deliver a message. I was paid. I probably shouldn't have done it, but hard times, needed the money. I took it in, I handed it to him, and he got very upset with me. We went to the plaza. He put me in possession of, the paladins. They pulled this man out of the carriage and then brought us here. And I've not been told what I did that was wrong. But I will lose my job if I am not back in my mistress's house.
You would probably say something like, "I'll be severely punished," because
I'll be severely punished
because you wouldn't lose a job as an indentured.
Okay. I'll be severely punished. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my story going forward.
So let's say you take. I'm actually going to do 3 blood stress to you. And the reason is that she kind of takes out some of her frustration on you. In so much as that, like she kind of like smacks you, a little bit, kind of smashing, and because you're just an easy target, you kind of put yourself in the way of a bull. And so you got a little bit of the horns as she herself was formerly an autumn paladin, so she's not exactly a weak woman. What does that put you at for Bonchance? Put you at a 1. So basically she manages to slap you around a little bit, and then she says, well,
I cry and look cowed, like I ham it up a little bit, but not a lot.
Okay. Well,
I'm also not trying to look tough, like,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then so basically kind of the end result is that she kind of blames you, regardless of how innocent your role was in the story that you've concocted. She kind of blames you for the situation that has come up. The fact that I assume you mentioned the Bishop Solemn-Rise.
Oh yeah.
Is that
no? I mentioned him specifically.
Okay, so you I mean she
in case
gives
the
you
paladins were being neutral.
Yeah, it was it was effectively she gave you a little bit of her frustration, let's say. She mentions how maybe this will save you from a worse beating later, or something along those lines from your mistress herself, since you've already paid for your insolence and crimes and all these other words that she's just throwing together kind of as a word soup as she's laying it on fairly thickly. But after she gets you out, you can tell that her carriage has been parked close by. She takes Henry quickly and leaves you outside of the Autumn Paladins guardhouse there.
I immediately start walking to try to get back, but I probably will take a circuitous route on the off chance that anybody, cares. I don't think anybody does, but
okay.
I'll take my time getting back to the place where we're staying and try to stick to not super well lit streets and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So now are you going back to the Jubilation Apartments then? And
yeah, the Jubilation Apartments.
Okay. So you head back. You do see that that Brent so Derwent, I should say. Derwent is in the room. As you could tell, he was kind of doing Derwenty things. So Brent, what were you doing while you were down there waiting for him?
I was in our little safe house, and I was probably working on my conspiracy board.
So you see Derwent working on his conspiracy board, slightly nonplussed, but you look a little worse for wear.
My day was much better than yours.
Yeah. So this is kind of the final bit before tomorrow's Ascension Day. Do you guys have any things that you want to do? Any last minute conversations you want to have?
I catch Derwent up on what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I let him know that there seems to be some tension within the church factions. And I wonder if those same tensions are present in the streets amongst the, the fans of the different candidates. And I wonder if somehow there are flames that could be, fanned to, essentially start maybe not a full riot, but start some sort of skirmish in the streets that cancels the parade and the Ascension.
I mean, you could try and do something to cover our escape, but I think at this point, interruption is the best method. Pushing her into the doorway
okay.
Because we could stop. And I tell him what I learned from the priest about the Ascension requiring components, occult components, and needing it to be right tomorrow during the eclipse. And if it doesn't happen during the eclipse, they won't ascend the new person. Right?
Okay, then let's go with your plan. The Bishop Solemn-Rise the Fallen is an idiot of a man and incapable of doing anything, actually action oriented.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with her once we get her in the Vermissian.
Well, like you said, though, we only have to hold her in there for a matter of minutes, right?
Did he tell me anything about that? Like how long it would? I mean, we better hide her faces when we pull her in there. She's just going to be able to leave and.
Well, yeah, no, she's seen me, so yes, I agree. But the eclipse can't, only last for so long, and if the Ascension has to happen during the eclipse, we just have to. They'll be waiting 75 years for another eclipse. 30 years, 20 years, 15 years.
So, because you had mentioned that the back door that you were going to put them in, are you going to go in with her then, Brent?
Yeah,
or was your
that's
just
the
plan to
plan.
like open the door, close the door, say good
No,
luck?
The plan is to pull her in, because there's nothing to
Mhm.
stop her from just leaving once we pull her in. So we have to detain her in the room. Like, the idea was to
Okay.
hold her there.
Oh, I thought you were just literally going to push her in and be
No,
like,
it's
and
a
then shut the door.
It's a kidnapping plot at this point. It's not a just push her in the door thing, because that's not going to do anything.
If I go in with you, how long before I go crazy?
Instantaneously. Anybody who's not a Vermissian sage that goes in there immediately makes a sanity roll.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you'll go in with her. She'll be crazy.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Here's what the ability says exactly. Any non-sage character who enters the vault must roll resist plus occult or resist taking mind stress while inside the vault. You may perform an investigate. Yeah, that's what all it says. Resist taking mind stress. So she'll take mind stress. She'll
I
roll
wonder how
against
much
it.
mind stress. Okay.
Probably 6 points. Like, if she rolls bad.
Okay.
None if she resists.
Yeah,
plus
none if
occult.
she resists.
If she's strong of will, she won't take any, and I might be screwed.
Might be an interesting moment for you.
And my character probably doesn't really care if he gets killed as long as he stops the ascension, just because at this point that's the important part.
Okay.
He's willing to martyr himself for the cause. Let's put it that way.
All right.
And so what I'll do
For the ministry.
what I'll do for the rest of the night is I will write a letter to the sub-abbess, apologizing for my actions and basically telling her about why I'm doing it, and viva la drow people, and et cetera, et cetera. And I tell you to give it to her if I get imprisoned and or killed. And that you might be able to, and if I am executed as a martyr, you might be able to get her involved in the in our group.
Okay.
But I leave that in our little hidey hole until for you to deliver after I get killed by the Autumn Paladin that I'm going to physically push through a interdimensional doorway. Hopefully,
right.
I mean, hopefully whatever role I have to fight to push her through the door works too, because I could fail that, I suppose.
It could happen.
You could. I mean, one of the things that I forgot to ask you, you're an obsessive researcher. Did you have any knack or particular thing that you were going to try to do?
Ooh, I'll pick a fighting knack for the next day. Grappling? Let's say grabbing people. Grappling will be my knack for when I have to do the subduing.
You'd pull out the dustiest of your scrolls. They just say judo.
It's a book on wrestling, yeah.
An ancient technique of just hurling people.
Book on drow wrestling techniques.
That's funny. Okay, so we know what Brent's doing. Jeff, do you have anything that you're doing?
I'm trying to think of how I can cause some sort of a distraction at the parade.
They'll be really distracted when I grab her and drag her.
Well, I was trying to give you a small distraction. You know what I mean? Like paying urchins to collect a box of rats. They can toss out in the parade route in front of the, procession as it goes by. I don't know. I'm spitballing ideas.
Okay.
10,000 marbles.
And let's pray I roll well with my 2d10 to grab her.
So let's do this then. I'll start taking you through the Ascension Day and describing each of the stages. If you feel like there's something that, kind of a burst of inspiration happens, then jump in,
Oh, you talking to Jeff? Okay, yeah. Because my inspiration is just as soon as she reaches nears me, and the doorway that's near me, it's open it.
Mm-hmm.
Use my ability to the backdoor ability, and then grab her and push her inside.
Because my other idea is to stand next to somebody in the crowd and then stab them as something's going by and scream, "Murderer! Murderer! They've been attacked!" Kind of thing, with blood flying all over. And then try to blend into the crowd as it flees.
Would you like to be able to do that better? Would you like to, or be invisible?
Ooh. Invisible sounds better.
You have to close your eyes and stand still to be invisible, but you'd at least disappear. The other one is, if you aren't wearing armor, your attacks have brutal and surprising tags.
Yeah.
Which would give you 2 more dice for stabbing someone.
So out of curiosity, so were you both going to go to the ceremony and be the links? Because unless I'm mistaken, I thought, Brent, you were laying the groundwork that you and your friend would be at the ceremony performing that, basically putting it a 2-on-1 situation.
She can be in the ceremony, but I mean, she might not. I mean, if I suggest you go with me, I guess yes. So I suggest you go with me to help push her through the doorway.
Okay,
so
I'll do
that because I'm not the most physically capable. In which case,
I do have fight.
In which case, I think if I give you the ability to close your eyes and be invisible, you could just help me push her through the doorway, close your eyes, and then disappear, and no one's gonna know you're there.
Do I have to stand motionless, or can I walk straight into walls while my eyes
remain
are closed?
motionless? Remain motionless and close your eyes.
You're just blindly feeling around.
But I mean, that should give you a time,
a second, right?
Yeah, that should give you a bit to get away, because they're not going to be looking for somebody who's invisible. But that's up to you if you want that.
Okay.
Or I can make you better at stabbing people.
No, it's okay. I'll try to help that way. I'll try to help you push her in.
Okay. So, the next day, pre-dawn. At this point, hundreds of members of the staff, overseen by Sub-Abbess Philydia, prepared the Plaza of 1,000 Sunrises for the ceremony. They take out banners that they've specifically reserved for the day. Streamers are streamed. Spring release cages are filled with doves, and they're tastefully concealed around the architecture. And the grand stage is basically brought together. Kind of it's modular, it looks like, but it's a grand endeavor that they managed to create this place of sacrifice in very little time.
Drow jitsu. That's what my knack is called.
Drow jitsu.
That's pretty fun.
Awesome. Drow jitsu.
Let's go.
Once the stage is set, the dawn is happening. Brent, from your conversations with with the prior, that Archbishop is going to be basically going through his ceremonial preparations. He's going to be fed, cleansed, and dressed in this kind of the special garb that they use for the occasion. It's kind of like a sacrificial garb, and of course the plazas have cleared of any troublemakers, ruffians, unwanted elements, all of those kind of things.
Drow.
And the city guard assists the Autumn Paladins with keeping the peace during the ceremony.
We have ceremonial masks on.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, hey, there's a
100%.
There's a bonus.
Yeah. So as soon as the anointed time for the parade to begins, a tremendously slow parade and marching band makes its way from the council chambers above the Amaranth, and it moves slowly down the Cagliostro Boulevard. And it's in the Amaranth, of course, everyone's kind of politely clapping, and they're like it's just a parade for them. There's not a lot of like fanfare for them at this point. They're just kind of like, oh, look at the parade go by. Isn't that nice? You get to experience a parade, young Aelfir child. And it doesn't take terribly long for it to, go through the winding streets and reach the Plaza of 1,000 Sunrise. You can tell, that, so at a certain point though, Sister Crimson is, she's masked and everything like that. And comes from, she comes from her location where she's presented and then basically put on a dais on one of the main floats, and bishops, dignitaries, and other people kind of are ordered in there and from like how important they are, um, kind of follow suit in this kind of train watching her. And much like any parade, she's obviously waving to the rabble, and everything like that.
By the way, it took 3 more mind stress giving him the ability to turn invisible.
Okay. All right. So once
it's D3, sorry. Let me roll that real quick. Not just
Okay.
3. Yeah, it was 3.
Well, good. You guys are rolling max for everything at least.
I was right.
Not just
When you're right, you're right.
So basically, as the as the parade is happening and everything like that, everybody is getting in place. The procession comes to a halt, and Sister Crimson's kind of led down, and she has her own route to get to the to get to this large this large platform where the sacrifices take place. And Archbishop Dreamspill Outward has been basically taken up there, and he's doing his final sermon. It's a short sermon as he kind of paves the way for his replacement to come during this time, and her ascendance is going to bring a new dawn, etc., etc. It's not a particularly long speech, considering you guys could actually from your position see what Archbishop Dreamspill Outward looks like. He is old, and you're not even sure if he's sober when he's doing this. It's very odd to see this person of incredibly high power just kind of like being shuffled up, kind of like cattle to the slaughter almost. At this point though, this is the crucial point, is that as you're done to have the timing of the march and everything like that, and you're positioned next to a doorway in order for you to make your move, Sister Crimson is in ceremonial garb. There's kind of like a medium train that goes behind her, and she's kind of proceeding down this like it's a practice thing. Her mind is focused on her task at hand. Obviously, the people have gone into the background, and there's that one spot where both of you are at, and it is time for you to make your move.
What do I get for Jeff's help? Do I get another dice?
So what this says in the book is when you're going through this, you have your D10, relevant skill, relevant domain, mastery, and 1d10 per helper. Now, because it's the two of you, I would say that this would probably fall under a fight type deal. Mm-hmm. So are you helping him or is he helping you?
Well, if I can, I will help Jeff push. Jeff will do the main pushing. So, because you have fight, right?
I have fight.
I do not. So it's fight plus what?
Fight's the skill I would use.
Right, but it's the skill plus domain. What would be the domain? High society, high because we're blending in, or low, or something else.
Occult.
It wouldn't be a cult. that's a knowledge thing.
Not really sure.
Crime, because it's a kidnapping.
Yeah, well, crime is when you're dealing with criminals. More
Right,
so
yeah,
than
and I don't have crime. I've only got high society, low society, and a cult.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess
not
it would
really
just
sure
be
there's a good.
fight, the regular, and then my help, I guess.
So 3d10 would still be
So
a
3d10.
fairly good one.
Okay. So I charge into her, I guess.
Yeah, you
Well-
can charge into her, and I pull her, grab her.
An 8.
So, okay. So why don't you guys, like, once you hit this critical moment, you're both there just poised, almost like springs. Describe to me how this happens. Because an 8 is a success.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically what Derwent's part is he opens the door, because it's, I assume it's not a ton. I assume there's enough, we planned it for as enough space where it's not, I don't have to grab her and like run a long ways, because that would suck. So it's basically like
you had positioned yourself, because remember, you were very successful in all of your roles, so you were able to get
so it's
as close
open
to
the
a
door.
doorway as you could.
Yeah, so it's open the door to the Vermissian, grab her as close to from behind as I can, and then Bonchance will shove her to help me
I'm gonna
drag her through the door.
Blast into her from the side, and just try to drive her into the door.
And then Bonchance can, once we're through the door, Bonchance can close her eyes and you'll be invisible. Just don't stand next to the door and slam the door shut. And hopefully we don't get brittled by guards' arrows beforehand.
So obviously she's taken by surprise. Obviously she's in clothing that's a little more ceremonial and less
martial.
It's not athleisure, let's say.
Sure.
With the surprise, with everything that's happening, you literally just open the door, shoulder check her in almost, and then Brent disappears with her inside. Correct?
Into the Vermissian, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I should have given you.
Let me take 1 second here to see.
This might be a good spot for Cliffhanger.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, we can. So we'll leave that, and we'll. Well, I mean, it's up to you guys. We could finish tomorrow, or next time, or we could do it. Finish now, or
probably next time.
Okay. I don't think we have too much more to go, but okay. Well, then the last thing we'll leave on is Sister Crimson being pushed into the Vermissian. The look in her eyes as basically she kind of starts to let out a scream, and Derwent slams the door.
And the Vermissian corrupts her mind, hopefully.
That's
we
what
will
we're
find
hoping
out
for.
next time.
I assume she has quite a bit of willpower being a paladin. But anyways, we'll see what happens.
Have a little bit.
We will see what happens. It'll be interesting to find out.
It will be. Yes, I agree.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And of course, everybody that's listening to this point, if you like the show and you want to hear more of these episodes and our grand finale, which will be taking place next week, there's no way that it doesn't end next week. I'll just tell you that. I can't imagine how it wouldn't end next week.
With martyrdom and murder.
That'll probably end next week. So
madness,
if you want to see that,
M.
Yeah, martyrdom, murder, madness, mirth, mayhem, all the M's. Let us know. Subscribe, jump in there. We'll probably post it next Friday so you can figure out how this ends. And of course, we really appreciate you listening to the end of the episode. If you want to talk to us outside of the comments section in YouTube, Jeff, how do they do that?
They find us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. We are at Rollwise there. You can also email us, rollwiseguys@gmail.com.
And as always, roll well, roll wise, and be safe out there, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.